Alright, so here it is. We have an iPhone XX Max that came in for data recovery. You can see how bent it is around this area. A lot of pads are missing, and we have a short. You can even see some of the components that are still hanging around. I haven't actually cleaned it up yet. You can see a few capacitors and other components that just came off the board. This was likely run over by a car. I'm not really sure what exactly caused it to get like this, but it seems likely that a car just ran over it. Alright, so let's take this inductors out of the way. Just anything that can potentially get in the way of me recovering the information. The device was getting extremely hot, and I'm thinking that it's due to a short on the main power route, since once I actually separated the boards, I can actually see right away after inspecting the board that this cap looks discolored. This cap belongs to the main power rail, PP VDD main, and that's likely what's causing the device to get extremely hot around that area. Believe it or not, this device probably will boot. It will probably have some issues with touch, since around this area we can see some pads are missing. I will have to double check, but I'm thinking that some of those connections are important for touch. Let's actually check. I have CXW right next to me, so let's see. We have okay, so that's number 10. Let me check over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is a ground pad. The one that I will worry about will be this one right here, but that seems to be for Wi-Fi. I don't need the Wi-Fi to work in this case. Let's see, moving up, we have another one missing on that area. Okay, let's see, that is another Wi-Fi connection. It's not necessary. Alright, so let's move along. Let's see what else is missing on this board. Okay, we have some pads missing around this area. I wouldn't worry about those either. But wait, we do have some NFC pads around that area that are needed, most likely needed. Let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Huh. Look at that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and everything else is ground. So luckily those are still there. Believe it or not, you need NFC to be present in your device if you want it to work properly. It's one of those security features that Apple included in when the device boots. So if it doesn't recognize NFC, your device will not allow you to boot into its OS. Okay, then down here we have a lot of pads missing. All of these are ground, and then over here we have these 4 pads. Let's see, those may be needed. So, well, not really. That is just for the wireless charging. Yep, that's wireless charging, so unnecessary. This one right here will be ground. That's not needed. And then this one right here is the only one that probably will be needed for wireless charging, but not needed for data. Okay. Let's see what else we have. So around this area we have PPGPU. One of those belongs to the PPGPU line. Let's see what else is missing around here. 1, 2, 3, 3 of those. Then down here we have another connection to the Wi-Fi chip, ground, another Wi-Fi connection. All right, so what I'm concerned about will be that PPGPU line around here. I think it will be 1, 2, 3 right here, this one. And then I will also check for, let's see, there's one around here that is a Razer line. Razer is, I believe, for touch. So if that's not present, we might run into issues with the touch. Yep. And that is also missing. So I guess around this area is where I will have to work and check around, see where those lines are going exactly, and if they're fully needed or not. We'll probably need them, and we'll just run a few jumpers if we do. Over here we have this color capacitor, which is part of the BDD main line. It's not that visible under the microscope, though you can see a slight difference between the two of them. See how one is shiny and the other one is not shiny, and my tweezers are really dirty. So we might have to actually take that cap out. I know for a fact that is shorted to ground. You can even see that it was boiling because of this right here. This part of the chip is like it has like this mark, and that's usually because something got extremely hot around that area. Let's double check with the multimeter, just continuity mode. If it beeps, it's short. There we go. There it is. I can probably just flick it out of there to yep, it flicked out. There it is. And double confirm. Short a cap. Get off my board. And well, we still have a short. Yeah, we still have a short on BDD main, so that was not the only thing that's causing a short. Very likely that we're gonna run into a lot of issues with this board since it's bent. Who knows? I would expect another shorter cap, maybe to be around this area underneath the shields. It's very likely, or maybe around this area. Well, one thing we can probably do is check our boost line. So PPVDD boost is another line that usually gets shorted in these cases. So I will just check that out. One easy way to check that line is to scrape off the coating on this test point right here, that little circle. You can just scrape off the coating, and that exposes the test point, which is a boost line test point. So let's see if that actually is most likely going to be also shorted. Nope. No, it's not. It's actually good. Oh well. So this is going to require a lot more work and cleaning, because it has a lot of paste, thermal paste, and well, flux when I was actually separating the boards. Then we have a bunch of small components just floating around from yep, look at that. There's a lot of things just floating around. All right, so I'll keep you updated. Hopefully we can retrieve this information, and I'll try and let you guys know if we can actually do something for this one. Bye now. Alright, and on this side of the board, I did find that there was a good amount of damage between layers, mainly because how bent it is, of course. So let me actually show you what I have here. Alright, so most of those pads are actually ground, and some of them belong to the wireless charging IC called eCatra. I can't pronounce that name properly. One connection that I'm worried about will be the one around here, that is the 1VA line coming straight from the PMIC, I think. That is also going and connecting in a way to the NFC chip. Yep, there's a resistor that connects PP1V8 always to the PMU to NFC VDD main enable, and like I said, we need our NFC to work properly in order to actually log in into the operating system and retrieve the information. Without that, we won't be able to give the computer permission to actually access the information in the phone. Alright, besides that, I don't think there's anything else here that stands out too much. I did find a crack right here, but that's probably not going to be a problem either. Alright, so we're gonna get to cleaning and then trying to look for that shorted component on the main power rail, and then we'll take it from there. Alright, so it's time to look for that shorter component inside our logic board. I will say that we're not going to be able to find that using the method of injecting voltage through the battery connector, and that's because when you inject voltage through the battery connector, it goes directly to this chip, which is the Tigris IC chip U33100. If I inject voltage, this chip is likely to get extremely high. I already tested that theory out, and the reason it will get hot is because it's a bridge. It connects battery BDD main to BDD main, which is the main power rail of the device, what turns the whole device on. So if I inject voltage through the battery connector, it's going to go straight to this chip, and then this chip is going to go straight to BDD main, which is going to cause the chip to get extremely hot. And the short may not be coming straight from the chip itself, but it still, since it's a bridge to ground, it will get extremely hot. Infinite consumption of voltage, infinite amperage, means the chip is just going to get boiling hot. So in this case, the best thing to do is actually inject voltage directly into BDD main instead of through the battery connector. Now, one way to do that is just to look for the connection, the BDD main connection, which is around this area. It will be on this side of the resistor. Right, this is a resistor that connects this chip to BDD main, but I wouldn't use that resistor. I will look for something a little bit bigger than that, and just inject some voltage and see what gets hot, instead of using the method that most people go for, which is injecting voltage through the battery connector. But just for demonstration purposes, I wanted to show you. I already tested that theory out, and I know that it's going to get extremely hot. But if I actually connected my battery, my power supply is off right now. I'll just connect it real quick, and then I'll turn this around, put some alcohol on top of it. Okay. Then I'll just touch my ground connector. And there it is. That's the first chip that gets hot. Alright, for those of you who missed it, let's try again. It's pretty fun, as long as you don't overdo it. There it is. See? So no matter what, that chip is going to get hot. So that's not the way to actually go on about this situation. What you really want to do is inject voltage on BDD main. So BDD main in this case is in a few places. You can use, let's see, around this area. You can use this two caps over here. You can use, there's a few connections over here. I will say, yep, this two right here, BDD main. And you can just connect the wire there, and then connect the wire to ground, and whatever gets hot is your problem. So let's actually do that. We're ready to actually inject some voltage in the main power rail. As you can see, there's a wire that I ran all the way to these points over here. These pads are actually BDD main, and I'm just going to apply some super cold freezing spray. This allows me to actually freeze the whole board to a point in which whatever gets hot is immediately visible. So once I apply voltage, something will get extremely hot, and it will allow me to see whether it is shorted or not, basically. So let me actually show you how this works. There we go. So now that it's getting all frozen up. What I'm going to be doing is this is the positive lead from my power supply, and this is the negative. So I'm going to be touching ground, and whatever gets hot is going to be my short. There you go. So you see this part right here, this capacitor, that's the short. That is what's shorting out the BD main line to ground. Alright, in this case I'm applying 2.5 volts to BD main, just to keep it safe. That line can actually support more voltage, but at the same time, you know, it's good to keep it as low as possible. It's unnecessary to apply a bunch of voltage or the same amount of voltage that a line usually handles. We only need to see what's getting hot, and well, that line is going to have infinite consumption, so it will immediately get hot since it acts as a wire to ground. So there you have it. We found the short. I'm going to actually flick it off the board. Let's see. Easiest way will be maybe to grab it from here. It does have some underfill. Alright. So we'll test out whether that is the issue or not. Continuity mode on our multimeter. There we have it. So that's the short to ground. Yeah, let's actually test out that our line is good, since we know that this line was shorted after we took out this capacitor. There we go, there's no short to ground. Alright, so now that we got rid of those two shorts and we did a bit of work on this device, what I want to do is test out that it turns on and that it boots. So if it boots, all we need to focus on is fixing that connection that travels from my digitizer to the CPU. As you can see, the digitizer connector is on this side of the board. All right, this is the flex cable for touch, and this is the digitizer connector. So from this board to this board, there needs to be a proper connection for that to work, and therefore I have to fix that pad in order for that to properly work as well. So for the meantime, I just want to know if it turns on, if it gets me an image, if it boots into the operating system. So all I need to do is just plug in some good known parts and grab my charging cable. Let me put it more towards go. Battery disconnected. Okay, and then we'll just connect our charging cable to the charging port. I'll show you how much it's consuming. Five volts, 1 amp, you can say. Apple logo. Now I can't really show you what pops up next, because if a picture of my customer pops up, then all right, there we go. It boots. You can see the clock. There is a picture of someone, so I won't be showing you anything else, but it works. So now we just have to fix a few more things and we'll get this data. Moving on to the next step. Here we have the board again, and this time we'll be working on that pad, that connection that needs to be fixed. Alright, here we go. So it will be the fourth one right here. This one. Let's get a bit closer. In this case, all we need to do is do some scraping. Scrape until you actually expose that connection properly. Once you do, we can just place a new pad there, and we should be good. Thankfully, in this case, we actually have enough of a connection left. Therefore, placing a new pad there shouldn't be that hard. To me, that's good enough. So the proper way to actually put a pad there is by grabbing this handy tool right here. Let me show you. See if I can focus my camera. There we go. So we'll just match the pads and then we'll get one that is about the same size. I will say, let's go over here. I'll say those. Okay, so let's grab one of those pads. There you go. Okay, that's pretty small. There you go. So I'm guessing the best way to do this is just grab a little bit of flux on my tweezers so I can stick. There you go. Now that I have it on my tweezers, all I need to do is transfer it here. Zoom in. So in this case, we're not trying to make the perfect connection. We just need a proper connection between the two layers. Therefore, all I need to do is make sure that this pad makes a good connection with the board and stays there. It doesn't move, right? Without moving. So let's grab a bit more flux. There we are. Then the pad is to have some solder in it as well. I think that's good enough. Now I'm going to clean that off. This is the fastest method and we don't want to waste so much time doing this. Again, it's a data recovery job. We are not trying to fix this board. This board looks really bad there's here we end up fixing a few things here and there, and we end up given a working device. That's great, but in this case, that is very unlikely since it's bent. Right. All right. So uh, you can see now it's a fresh connection. You can't even notice as much. You can't tell apart from the other ones as much, um, except that it's a bit off, not in the middle. But as long as it makes a good connection, it's not like I said, so we should be fine there. All right, let's move on. All right, guys. So now that we are done fixing some of the issues this board has, I think it's time to move on to the bottom board. I think the bottom board doesn't have any issues. The only thing that I was concerned about was this pad over here, which is PP1V8 always, that connects to this resistor. This resistor right here, R8000, connects to the NFC. And what this does is it is a connection between PMU to NFC, which enables the power rail on the NFC side. Without this, the NFC is very unlikely to actually turn on. You can see over here that it connects to the UNFC_S. So I was checking this connection and I noticed that this part of the board is slightly lifting off. My concern is that while I'm actually connecting both boards, it comes loose completely, and then NFC will stop working. Though it is lifting more towards this side than it is on this side. On this side, it looks like it's not as bad. I did a connection test with my multimeter, and I did notice that it was making contact with the resistor, so therefore it should be fine. Now we did fix, let's do a bit of a recap. We did fix actually this pad over here recently. I believe it was this one. So this is UART_AOP_2_racer_TXD. This connection is a connection between the digitizer connector to the CPU. So it has to be important, it has to be present in order for our touch to work properly. Now the other problem this board had was with the capacitor. This capacitor over here was a BD main capacitor that was shorted to ground, as you noticed in the previous video. And well, visually this capacitor over here looked like it was bad, and it in fact was shorted. Once I took it out, I did test out whether it was shorted or not, and it was. So we had two shorts around the same area within the same line. We got rid of those and we fixed the connection on the logic board. Now the next step is to put together the two boards, make sure that it boots into our operating system, and then retrieve the information. Once we do that, we put it in a USB drive, we give it to the customer, and the job is done. So we need a full backup, and we need to retrieve the pictures, which is the primary reason they came to us. All right, so without further ado, I will make another video explaining how we do that. All right guys, here we have it. The phone is working. We placed it in one of those fixtures that holds down together the motherboard, both the bottom and top board. We have it connected through the charging port to the computer, and we are backing up right now the photos, around 9K photos. We already made a full backup. We are transferring the full backup to the 1 terabyte HDD drive, and tomorrow most likely let the customer know that this is up and running. It's a pretty cool setup that I have going on here. As you can see, Everything's connected through that fixture, right? All right, so thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it. It definitely helps us a lot, and we'll try to actually, make some more content. Thank you.